All right, all right, all right. Y'all know what time it is. It's Monday night. Where would you rather be than joining us in the Counselor's Corner? I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Also joining me is Willie A. Price, speaks the truth.
That's it.
Herb Lewis, the Big Bad Wolf, is having technical difficulties right now, so hopefully he'll be able to join us later, as well as the dashing Christine Brooks and the faithful Lakia Perry.
That's right.
Uh, this
The
past
gang, the
Monday,
all gang here.
this past Monday, we discussed the topic when is too much in regards to relationships. So tonight we will lead off with the talking point: treat people how you want to be treated, or treat people how they want to be treated and teach them how you want to be treated. Which is better? I know that was a lot, like a damn tongue twister or something. But if you think about it, process it, you'll understand, and we'll go a little further into that. Um, but here are the other three essential talking points. Is there or should there be a time limit before you can date someone your friend dated? Mm, mm, mm. Breaking that proverbial code, they say, uh, we don't date friends. You know, that's what a lot of women say. I don't
Them
mess
days are
with
over.
guys here.
Them days are
So
over. Shit. They
Willie
be trying
said
to
those
date them
days
while
is
you
over.
date them. They be trying to date them while you date them. Shit. I mean, shoot.
So we will go further into that. And I'm sure some of you still say that, but I know firsthand that that is a lie. That code is always broken. And I don't know if it ever existed.
Mm-mm.
Frederick Gilmer said the unwritten rule, LOL. Um, so we're going to talk about that. And then number three, do you consider men or women with a lot of kids a red flag? And number three, what has Kevin Samuels and Dave Chappelle taught us about America and who has room power? So hopefully Herb will come in for that segment because that's something he wanted to talk about. So if not, we'll roll with the other essential talking points. Well, you see it, another broadcast with a lot going on. Please like and share our video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. So we're here, and you know how we do it in the Counselor's Corner, man.
That's it.
So Willie, what's good with you, man? What's going on? What's new?
Man, just trying to actually I just came from Buffalo. I was in Buffalo. They had they just started this monthly mentoring program for youth in the city of Buffalo over at the Johnny B. Wiley Stadium. And I went over to that to show some support and try to meet some of the young people and just kind of see what the kids were talking about, what their interests were, so that way it helps me to better put my programs together. So it was interesting. It was interesting group of kids. It was about maybe about 10, 12, about 12, 13 kids there, and about about 4 or 5 adults. And we just kind of talked, and there was a lady that did a keynote to the kids, and it was interesting. It was a good event though. It was a good kickoff. So that was my day.
And that's a good
Support
thing.
the young folks.
And I see a lot of people are trying to do back home, do different things with kids. And if you're a parent, make sure that you get your kids involved.
Yes.
And put your foot down. Sometimes they don't want to do it. I remember when I was younger, I thought I brought this. I'm sure I brought this up before. I used to have to go to a job training course or like workshop at the Niagara Community Center. I think it was like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I had to go there faithfully. And I learned how to do mock interviews, and we talked about resumes and just overall etiquette. And I learned that as a youngster at like 12, 13 years old, and I was kind of forced to go no matter what. Even if I wanted to play football or whatever the case, I would have to stop dead in the middle of the game to get ready to walk over to the community center to participate. So sometimes parents, you have to force your kids' hands. And I know
And that's
some
not
of you. Yeah.
That's the problem. A lot of these parents are letting the kids run the house. Not run the house, but determine what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. A child does not know what they need to do. That's why they have adults around them that's supposed to guide them and give them direction on things. Some of the things, like you said, your parents sent you to that program because they knew that would benefit you in the long run. You wouldn't have went on your own.
No,
you didn't even know that you needed it. And that's one of the biggest problems we have these days, is that these parents want to give their kids so much autonomy, allow them to just do what they want to do. They're too young to know what they're supposed to be doing. Sometimes you have to just guide them and give them some direction and make them do some things.
And if you're a sound parent and you understand what it takes, you just have to tell them, look, this is what you're going to do. If, in order for you to do this, this is what you're going to do. Sometimes it's bargaining, manipulation, or whatever the case is. It might be some things they want to do, and you say, well, you're going to need to have to go here. You got to try every little thing to get them going. And surely they won't understand right off the bat why they're doing it, but then after the long run, they'll probably say, Mom, Dad, I see why. I'm glad you made me do that, because I'm much ahead of the game than anybody else.
But I've heard some parents say, well, I can't make him, he won't do it, or she won't do it. I can't make him do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Who's the parent? You can't make, if they're in your house, then they can do it. You can make them do it. Hey, Christine.
Hi.
Hello. The dashing Christine Brooks. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you all?
Talking about parenting.
Good.
I could tell. That already was like, what? I can't make what?
Exactly.
I don't understand that.
And that's what I said.
I did what I wanted them to do.
There you go. If you're the parent, it ain't no, I can't make them. You're going to do it, or you going to pay the consequences.
And it's funny, like, every now and then I get phone calls from parents, and they're like, Mr. Glover, my daughter, she doesn't want to come to school. I can't make her. I'm like, what? Like that's not a, like, I can even understand if the kid was 16, 17, they may tell you something and may go off and do something, but an 11, 12-year-old, and they won't get out to bed to come to school. Nah.
By the time they're 16, if you didn't set that groundwork,
it's too late. Now you're battling. When they get to that age, you're bad. You're fighting with almost somebody who think they're grown already. But now their bodies are sometimes like a grown person by that age.
Yeah. So it's not much you're gonna be able to do with them, but you set that groundwork basically from when they're born. You won't have those issues.
Exactly. I've heard people say that all the time. I can't. Well, he won't get up. He won't go. She won't do it.
The way I like to put it.
Yeah, whatever.
I had a benevolent dictatorship is how I ran my home. But it was my way. Things went my way. I was just nice. But end of the day, it was my way, period. We're doing things my way. Well, I'd like to try this time, Mom. That's nice. But we're going to do it this way.
There you go.
You know. Just,
I don't get it.
Well, look, Herb still's having technical difficulties, so
I can't say it enough. I commend you all that work with other people's kids. We were talking about that at work today, because I'm like, if they're my own, I could do it. If they're my own, or if they're at least related to me, because then I'm sorry, but I could put hands on them if necessary.
Yeah,
they won't call 911 on child protection on you.
No,
that's what these kids do now.
I mean, I went to high school with people that said that their kids did that.
Call the police on them.
This one lady I went to high school with, and I ran into her. Now it's been years, because I still had underage kids. We both still had underage kids when I ran into her. But the thing was, she was like a prisoner in her own home. You working, I mean, slaving to take care of two daughters that held you hostage because they called family protective services on her, and would threaten to do it again if they didn't like something she did.
Well, see, and the thing is, because, well, I'm not going to say all school districts, but I know our district, we go in the classrooms and we talk about that. So they're educated on that. So, but also
on calling child protection?
Yeah, no, not calling, but to, you know,
if
to
you're
seek help.
Talking about it, right? If you're talking about it, and that light goes off in their head, so like I could, you know, it becomes twisted. I could use
they use it to manipulate. They use it to manipulate. That's what they
for
do.
my benefit.
But they're also told that parents could discipline you, whatever. They can't be. It can't be obsessive. Like can't leave bruises and all that. But they can smack you, and long as they don't leave bruises. And they're like, for real. I'm like, yeah, they can do that. So you can get a whooping. It just can't be excessive. They can't like go upside your head with a frying pan or something like that. But
but any kind of mark though, once they see a mark, that's considered assault. You know, so if you have a little light-skinned kid and you slap them, and now all of a sudden they got this red mark on their face, you know what I'm saying?
And that's almost comical to me because, you know, well, of course you see my complexion. I used to go to school with a handprint on the side of my face. You know? I did the wrong thing in the morning. My mother was stressed out. She trying to get to work. My father was already gone to work by the time, you know, that she was getting us ready to go. I don't remember what I did, but I remember her smacking the crap out of me, and I went to school with a handprint on my face. You know, nowadays she'd be going to jail for this.
Child protection be right at your house.
And she was, and it wasn't like my mother was abusive, you know.
Right.
But
just like you said, just the fact that, you know, because of your complexion, her doing that automatically, if she would have grabbed your arm, it would have left a print on your hand. You know what I mean? On your arm because of your complexion.
Exactly.
That would have been, they would have been looking at you like you've been abused.
Yeah.
And that's scary because these people, they come in your homes and they will, I mean, and of course it's to protect the child, but some of these kids, they use it to manipulate. Like you said, now they're afraid, the parents are afraid to do anything with the kids for the fear that child protection gonna be in and out the house.
And then I mean, you even run into instances where somebody anonymously calls because they're jealous. They don't like you or whatever the case is. And I have definitely had that happen to me several times over the years of raising my kids. And I know one time, well, actually both times. But I remember one time and it was a man and he came in, and when he saw how my house was and he saw how my kid, he got pissed. He was like, I don't have time for this. He was like, our resources, we're already short staffed. And now we're going back. My third child was probably 8 months old at the time. So we're going back 30 years, you know, 30 something years. But he was like, I don't have time for this. You know, he said, we're already overworked, short staffed, just to be called down here on this BS. He said, there's clearly nothing wrong here.
Right. This was the child protection worker that came out.
Yeah, it was a social worker.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because you're wasting time.
Yeah, because they have, like they told me, and another time I had somebody come out to the house and they were like the same way, but they were, you know, they're asking me questions and I was like, you know, do you hit your kids? Yes, I hit my kids. Yes, I do. I'm like, no, I don't just come home and beat them because I had a bad day at work. I said it depends on the offense. You know, but I told her that. I'm like, you gonna take care of him? She wrapped up her stuff and she was out of there.
Thank you.
All right. So
I'd be like, here, take them with you. Take them with you.
You have some parents like that, and they'll tell you, "I don't give a damn what goes on. You could call whatever. You could give me the number. I can call because they're not gonna do this in my household." And
That's it.
me, I kind of have to say the politically correct thing, but I want to give them a little sign, thumbs up or whatever. Like, oh, I
Like,
feel you, whatever. Yeah.
I know that's right.
But
and there was one other time, and this was a phone call, and this was about my younger son didn't go to school, and he was in grade school. Okay, so he hid. I used to leave out for work before he went to school, but I had two adult daughters there at the house at the time, so it wasn't like no supervision. So anyway, he tricked them into thinking he had got on the bus. He snuck back in the house, went in the basement, spent the whole day there, right? So they called the house. He answered the phone and just hung up when he realized, it was school, right? But that was all in his little plan. You know what I'm saying? When they call, I'm gonna intervene. Ain't nobody gonna know. So anyway, so it wasn't even like they called that day. It was like a few days later, and I'm at work, and I get a call from a social worker, ask me about it, and she was like, I said, what? Because I had found out by the end of the day anyway that he hadn't gone to school. But she was calling me about it because the school called, because they were like, well, they were concerned that there might be something going on in the home. I asked that lady, I said, what if it was? What if there was something seriously wrong at home? I said, they should have sent the police to my door.
Right.
I said,
3 days later,
instead they wait and they call you, and now you're calling me, like a week after this incident happened. And she agreed with me. Yeah. And she said, and I'm looking at your son's record. And she said he doesn't have excessive absences. I said he didn't want to go to school that day. I said he tricked his sisters, it wasn't, so anyway, but just stupid stuff. People, unfortunately, it gets abused for the wrong reasons when there's kids who really need those services.
Exactly. Could be helping somebody that really need it.
Instead, they're chasing down stupid stuff.
Thank you.
That is true. Wow. That is true. Well, we're going to go on to the meats and potatoes of
right.
Tonight.
Treat me the way you want to be treated.
Yeah. Or treat people how they want to be treated and teach them how you want to be treated. So let's talk about that, whatever.
I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. I'm not going to treat you the way you want me to treat you. I'm going to treat you the way. Huh?
Why?
Why? I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated because I'm going to treat you right. Well, when I say treat you the way I want to be treated, I'm going to do things that I would want you to do for me. So I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to do, what I mean? I'm going to do the things that help us to build that relationship. When I say treat me the way you want to be treated, I'm not going to get together with you and be calling some girl on, calling some other girl and trying to get with her. And then I show up over at your house trying to hang out with you because I wouldn't want you doing that to me. So like I said, I'm basically going to treat you the way I want. I'm not going to do anything to you that I wouldn't want you doing to me. That don't mean that I wouldn't do things that you want or things that you like, but I'm not going to do anything that, if it was done to me, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So that's when I say treat me the way you want to be treated, or I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated, because I'm not going to do anything. I wouldn't do anything to you that I wouldn't want you doing to me. That's what I think of when I hear that statement. Because I say that a lot. I say that a lot to people. Treat me the way you want to be treated. And then when people do certain things, I say to me, how would you feel if I did that to you? You know what I mean? I say, how would you feel if I did that to you? Because people will say something or they'll do something. And I say, well, how would you feel if I did that to you? I'm going to treat you the way I want to be treated. So if you treat me like that, or you're doing that to me, it's okay for me to do it to you also. You know, and so that's why I say it. That's why I say it.
I guess in reality, I think it's a combination of those two things. I think when you start out getting to know somebody, it's important to treat them the way you want to be treated. Or because I think we do treat people how we want to be treated. You know, if you're paying attention to what a person does, they're showing you what they like and how they're treating you. But I also think it's important to pay attention to the person and listen to the things and pay attention to how they're treating you, right, to understand how they actually want to be treated. You know, it's like going back to the subject of love languages. So if my love language is to be showered with gifts, I might shower you with gifts, but that might not be your thing. That might mean nothing to you. What may mean something to you might be affection, or, you know, or right, or communication.
That's my love language. Communication is mine. I like talking to people.
So, you know. So like I said, it's kind of a combination. You might start off treating them how you want to be treated, but you have to pay attention to what they're saying, how they want to be treated in the end. Because I think, you know, even two quote unquote good people can lose each other trying to just keep doing what they like to be done to them rather than what that person wants.
Right.
Well, I want to add to that. So when we say all
come
that,
on,
you on here?
No, man, I'm just phone issues, severe phone issues. I'll get into it later.
All right. Well, hold on, Herb. I want to make this point. So when we talk about that, and we look at when you first start out dating someone, it seems like other individuals, like sometimes they're playing games. Like you call them and they're holding out, not calling you back, or they want it to be about the chase. So does that go with the golden rule when you say treat people how you want to be treated? You're like, okay, I'm calling you all the time, or I'm doing this, and you're not doing anything in return because you're playing the game. How does that work in all of this as far as treatment?
I cut them off.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
I'm done.
I don't know that. I don't know that you need to just automatically cut them off. I had somebody do that to me before. I used to, I used to text them good morning. I'm like, dang, he'll never text me good morning first, So one day I just didn't, right? And I literally got a text from him about 11:30, 12 o'clock saying, did you forget something? Yes. He had the audacity to say, did you forget something? I was like, forget what? Well, you didn't text me good morning. I'm like, oh.
But you know what? In his mind, that was your thing. That was your thing to him. But he didn't see it as something that he does. You know what I mean? He saw that as part of your thing.
It was a little bit even more than that. So I would text him. We both worked, right? So this was I know we're both up. So I might text him, say 7 a.m. You up because you going to work. You text back around 11. That was his thing, around 11 or whatever. Hey, what's up? Nah.
Right. That was your thing. That was, and actually he probably got used to or expected that from you.
But I kind of felt like David said, that was a bit of a game. You wanted to be chased. You wanted to feel chased. I'm not into that. I'm genuinely I'm genuinely a sweet person. It's just how I am. So, it was nothing to me.
Right.
It wasn't a stretch to me to
right.
text and say, hey, good morning. We're dating. Why not? Good morning. Have a good day.
He could at least respond.
If he had responded, I wouldn't even have tripped off the fact that he don't send it to me first.
Right.
But I mean, when I say respond, like within the hour, come on, we're both up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's different. That's crazy right there.
That's playing games 7 a.m. and you're gonna get it every day, and then you wait till 11 o'clock. Like, what the hell you had going on?
Right. It took you 4 hours to get back to me.
So then so then 11, 12 o'clock, you're like, oh, did you forget something? Like, are you serious with me?
I didn't get my good morning today. What you doing? Who you with?
Herb, what's good, man?
I'm beginning to hate cell phones, man. The battery in this particular one, because I have two, is not functioning properly. So when I took it last week to go get it repaired, they tell me that they don't service it because of some issues. So I ordered a battery. Come to find out, it's like a half an hour process to take out the battery and replace it. On top of that, you have to get a blow dryer to heat the glue to remove the battery. And yeah.
I think you got one of them Wesley Snipe phones in New Jack City or something, whatever.
Burnout phone.
I love the phone.
Why you ain't got that computer hooked up? Why you ain't got that computer hooked up?
Man, listen, that computer is taking a backseat to all the stuff I've been doing in the last month and a half or so, man. The funny thing is the modem is sitting right there next to the computer. I just haven't done it. That's what it is. So tomorrow I'm off all day. That's my goal, is to get all this stuff. I got a litany of things that I need to do, and that's at the top of the list. But this is an interesting topic, man.
Get it done by next Monday.
Well, I got to get it done. I have to get it done because the rest of the week I'm busy. I got practice, work, the other organization. And see, now I'm getting a battery signal again. This is annoying, and it's gonna cut out soon.
It's not plugged in?
Yep.
It shouldn't shut off. It's plugged in. I don't know.
He froze. I don't know. He froze, like I said, one of them New Jack City phones. Anyway, so we're gonna build out that point.
I think when you treat people, I always tell people too. I said, don't start nothing you're not gonna finish. So for me, I like how she said she'll get up and call text a person every morning. I know I'm not gonna do that consistently. So I'm not going to start doing it because then I know eventually I'm going to stop. And then when I stop, it's going to be a problem. Oh, you didn't text me today. What's up? Like I said, like he said, like he asked you, well, what happened? Why you ain't text me? Because he got used to it. He got used to that being part of your norm.
My routine.
Text him every morning.
Right.
See, for me, I'm not going to start that. I'll do something that's natural for me to do. If they did that to me, then I would respond that morning. I'm not gonna wait 3 or 4 hours, but and even sometimes I may even beat them to it and say, hey, I just want to catch you and say good morning today.
Yeah, like that would have. It's not like I expected, for him to start texting me good morning every morning, right. But that do make more of an effort than that. But it was just a very cocky, arrogant behavior.
And sometimes with that, if you know somebody, that's their routine, and they decide to say, you know what, I'm not even going to do it this morning, and they don't do it, you would think anybody that pays attention would say, like, hey, let me reach out to her, make sure everything is all right. Or whatever the case is.
Now wait 4 hours later and say, wait a minute, what happened this morning?
To reach out and say, did you forget something?
Did you forget something this morning? 4 hours
Right,
later.
not are you okay? Is everything okay? But you know,
Yeah.
hey,
Because
you
if they
forgot
didn't
to,
get, if they didn't
you
get that good
forgot to send
morning,
me my good morning text.
right?
But
If
what
they
did
didn't
he
get that
do
good
with that?
morning, I'd have been checking to see if you was okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you
What did
know,
he
like
do with that
7:30, 8
information?
o'clock. Yeah,
He got it, but he waited till 11 o'clock. It was
Mhm.
almost
It
afternoon.
was.
that's
Trust me,
crazy.
with this person, it was a cocky behavior. It was an arrogant.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. See, that don't
So,
work for me. Treat me the way you want to be treated.
so what is the advantages and disadvantages? And well, let's go a little deeper, like about teaching people how to treat you, because sometimes people are not teachable or coachable. So you could try to teach them something and they say, "Nah, I'm just not subjecting to that," or
I mean, I
maybe
don't think you can expect somebody to do something that's out of their comfort zone.
Right.
But if they care about you, things that are within their comfort zone that maybe they that's they're not used to doing it per se, but it's not outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
So if I'm
So,
communicating to you, you know, I like it when you hold my hand when we're walking. You know, I like, you know what I'm saying? If you're telling them, so it is a matter of actually communicating though what you like, which how you want to be treated. You know, it's not just and I guess that's kind of my point. So like I said, we do teach people how we want to be treated by how we treat them, but that's not the be all end all because they might not be picking up on that. And there might be something different that they want from us. So then you have to literally become you have to communicate it.
yeah, that's the key. Like, you know, we've talked about that, and that's one of the things I say basically every show. Communication is key. If you can't communicate with that person, nothing else is ever going to matter. Nothing else is ever going to really get anywhere because communication, you have to let that person know what you like, what you dislike, uh, things that they're doing that they like, that you like, and that they dislike, whatever the case may be. You know, you have to communicate. If you can't, if even if you feel you can't communicate with that person, right there is telling you you're not supposed to be with that person.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel that you
So
can't
Donald
communicate with,
Taylor says, "I'm no good with phone stuff, and I make it known early. I'm the same way. I don't like talking on the phone. I mean,
I hate
I
texting worse than I hate talking on the phone.
oh man, I'll text all night.
Really? No, I hate texting.
I'll
I will
text.
call and talk. I will say, you know, we got to stop all this texting. I need to talk to you.
There
I I,
there
I hate texting.
there are very few people that I've been able to just talk for extended amount of times with. Now I can't talk on the phone. I'll give you that. If that's something that's important to you, I'll do it. But don't expect us to be on the phone for like no hour. You
See,
know?
that's the well, you could never be together. Because I'm telling you, literally,
If it's
I
gonna happen, your
talk for
conversation
2
better
hours.
be
3. I've been on the phone 2-3 hours sometime with people, just having conversation, and it could go for weeks. We talk for hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on what we're talking about, different things. But I mean, and then we could get together and do the same thing. We spend hours together
now
just talking.
face to face. I could talk forever.
Well, see, I do it. I hate texting. I'll do it initially, but
Mm,
you know, I'll send a person. I'll say, hey, you know, here's my number. If you want to talk, give me a call. I said this texting is driving me crazy. You know, and I'll say that because I don't like texting. I prefer to have a conversation with people.
mm-hmm. But I mean, I will talk on the phone. It's just it's very few people that I've encountered that I could just talk endlessly to. I mean, there
Really?
have been some, but it's just not many. It's not many.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's not that type of, if that conversation doesn't just flow and keep flowing and keep flowing, then
Right.
I don't want to be on the phone. You
Holding the
know,
phone.
well, I'm
Yeah,
not going
holding
to
the
hold
phone.
the phone. I'm going to talk. I'm going to create conversation. But that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work when you're creating the conversation.
If you got to create it, yeah, it is. It is a lot of work if you got to create it.
You're not, it's not a
Yeah.
back and
genuine flow. Nice,
it's not a
genuine
flow.
flow.
Yeah.
Right.
If it
flow, and that's the thing.
Fluidly, I can do it.
And that's me. Like I said, I can talk to a person and it'll just flow. And like I said, I know, next thing I know, we're like, man, we've been on this phone for 2 hours. I need to get off this phone. You know what I mean? But because we're just having a conversation, next thing I know is 2 hours later, I'll be like, I got to get off this phone. I got something I got to do, whatever.
But then the other thing is, like I said, it's got to flow back and forth, because it could also be that person does all the talking, and that.
Just hold the conversation on them.
Which no tea, no shade, but that's my brother, and he can talk forever and not notice that I've put the phone down and walked around and come back.
I've done that to some people. I'll put the phone down,
to my old brother.
Speaker. I'll be in there washing dishes. They still be just going, just talking. I'll pay whatever.
And my kids will be cracking up because I'll be like,
Some people could dominate a conversation. You can't get a word in, and you want to get a word in, but everything is about them. Soon as they get you on the phone, it's just like nonstop, and you like, damn, really? Can I tell you how my day was? Like,
and that's what, like I said, and I could do this because my brother's not on social media, but he'll be like, "So how was your day?" I might be able to say, "Oh, it was good," and then he's off to the races. He's talking. And it's like, I kind of had something to say, but
and you have those selfish people like that too. Like you said, they'll hold the whole conversation about them, and then soon as you want to talk about you, all of a sudden they got to go. They got to go. I had a friend. I thought he was a friend. I had a friend of mine like that, and he would call me, talk about stuff that was going on him and his girl with work. Everything. And as soon as he take a break, I go to tell him something about me or what was going on with me. Yo, man, let me get back to you. I got to go. Right off the phone. Well, because he didn't want to hear what was going on. He just needed to vent his stuff. And after I kept noticing, I said, wait a minute. I said, you know what? Nah, this ain't happening.
So and then Donald says, that hours on the phone stuff left me in high school. That even tickles me about myself. In high school, I could stay on the phone. My father put a time limit on me because, I could stay on the phone for hours. So and now I just be like, the phone rings and I'm just kind of looking at it like, do I answer it? Yeah,
I love talking on the phone.
So,
man, I just got in trouble with my oldest daughter. She called me out, and we were over people's houses. It's like, Mom, I've been calling you for 5 days. You will not answer your phone.
For 5 days.
So Donald also has said this: you can't teach someone how to treat you. You can only guide them. Sometimes the best way to do that is to say what you don't like as soon as they do it. So that's the question. Like, how soon? So do you do that at the beginning and start telling someone, well, I don't like it when you do this or whatever the case early? Like,
it's all about how you say it too, though.
Yeah,
it's all about how you tell them, because some people can take offense at the way you based on the way you tell them that you don't like something that they're doing. They take offense, or they think that you're trying to boss them, or trying to control them or something. So a lot of times you also have to, and during that communication, you have to pay attention to how that person responds to things, because you have some people that think that somebody's trying to control them.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're saying that I'm doing something you don't like, and I take that as you're trying to control me, then
that's a sign.
That's a red flag.
That's it. If I can't talk to you in a civil conversation and tell you what I like and dislike,
especially if it's something I don't like,
right.
and you see that as a control issue. Like, I can't carry your demons around for you.
So how many people you know, actually express things that they don't like instead of just kind of shunning someone away, like, okay, I didn't like this, and you just kind of get cold or distance instead of putting it out on the table. You know what? The reason why I haven't communicated or I've been acting funny uh, is because when you said this, or I don't like when you did this. I mean, how many people actually communicate that?
I
I do
know
that
I
when I get
have.
fed up. I do it when I get fed up. I'll put up with a lot. That's one of my problems. I put up with a lot of stuff. So I have actually had somebody I met that moved here from out of town, and I met them, and I was being nice because
I
they
hope
didn't
they
know
didn't
anybody.
move to be with you.
Yeah, and I moved. They moved here, and they didn't really know anybody around. So I met them, and I was like, I would go pick them up and take them places, and say, "Hey, I'm going to Buffalo. You want to go hang out? There's a festival or these kind of things." But what I started to notice is that every time I would go get her to take her somewhere and show her around, she always talked. First thing she'd say once we got there that she didn't have any money.
No, you need to say that on the front end.
Exactly. And then it was like, can you
As a
give me
matter
this?
of fact, if you all weren't dating, then
And we weren't. It was just I was just being friendly because I
it
knew
should
she
have
was.
been like, oh, I'm gonna pass this time because I don't have any money.
Nope. She show up, and so then when I would come to her, I'm looking at.
I love it. You know what? I was gonna recommend a drum roll for Willie's moment.
And now, story. Come on, I wasn't even. It wasn't my moment yet.
Yeah, hey, it felt like a moment. It felt like a moment.
I
Go
ended
ahead,
up.
man.
I ended up stop. I gradually started weaning myself away from her because I noticed that when she did have money and things, she would go places with other people. But then when she didn't have money, she was always calling me to see what I was doing, or going with me somewhere and expecting me to pay for it. Even though we weren't dating, weren't doing anything. I just felt bad because she was out there where she was. Where she was located. I was just kind of looking out for her, saying, hey, I'm going to Buffalo. You want to go to this festival? They're having a festival up there. You want to check it out or whatever? And that was it. But at the end of the day, I just started weaning myself off of her. And now we don't even speak anymore.
That's the girl you left out of town.
No, actually, the one I left out of town was when I was in my right out of college. When I left out of college. No, okay. This one is somebody who moved here. No.
So
as you can see, that when I left in college, that's different. And we weren't dating either.
Yeah, I agree with her. People like that. And if you're telling them that, I really don't like it when you do that. That offends me or whatever. And they get offended by you telling them, it's like what he said. They would find an insult in a bouquet of roses.
No matter what no matter what you say. And you have some people just like that. No matter what you say to them, they're going to take offense to it because they think you're trying to control them. They're used to people trying to control them. That's why, though.
Yeah, but again, like I said, I'm not carrying around. I can't fight your demons for you. I'm not into that.
I tell people right up front, I'm not going to argue with you. I refuse to argue. If you want to argue, then I know we can't be together. I have no time for arguing. I have no tolerance for the arguing with people.
Not one argument, one little healthy argument.
There's nothing healthy about an argument.
Yeah, I'm not into arguing. I'll state how I feel. I'll state it a few times, and then when I stop talking about it, that's a red flag for you.
Yeah, it's almost over.
Yeah, exactly. That means that you on a short clock now.
Yeah, And that's I'm the same with you on there, Christine. I'm not going to argue with you. If I find myself arguing with you about the same thing over and over again about how I feel or something you're doing, it means you don't want to stop doing it. It means you don't have any consideration for how I feel. And so, in that right there shows me that you're not the person for me.
People don't believe me. The last time I haven't argued with anyone that I haven't had kids with. Not that I would argue with them now, but I was when we were in relationships. Yes, there was arguing or whatever. After those relationships were over, I haven't argued with anybody. I'll state how I feel. I'll listen to how they feel. Now, I've had them argue with me, and I'm just like,
and sometimes it's the timing of arguments that people take that opportunity to argue with you. You may tell them after conversation, I got this going on tomorrow. Oh, it's been a lot going on. And that's when they decide, well, hell, I might as well add fuel to the fire. And you find that person doing that on a regular basis. So sometimes,
that becomes aggravating.
Yeah, sometimes you be reluctant to share anything that's what's going on with you because you like, shit, I'm secretly thinking this person used that against me. So if I tell them something, then they're gonna turn around and it's gonna it's gonna backfire. So when they ask you, so what's going on with you? Nothing. Nothing.
Right.
You seem a little off today. I'm all right, or whatever the case is, because that they, and it's crazy. So
that's when you're on your way out. That's when you're on your way out. When you start getting those short answers, it's almost over. Because the thing is, you have people you share with, something you're going through, and then they want to throw daggers at it. Well, you think maybe it's because you act this way. They want to try to put you down or kick you while you're down. And those kind of people, oh man, drive me crazy.
What do they call that? Passive aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
So it's something that they may not have liked a week or a month ago, and they take that opportunity to say, well, it's probably because XYZ. I don't like that.
Exactly. Something you did or some kind of behavior you would have.
Right.
Yep. Those kind of people drive me crazy.
All right, we got a comment. Anita said, team them how you want to be treated and learn how they want to be treated. It works better that way. Just because, she said, well, teach them how you want to be treated and learn how they want to be treated. It works better that way. Just because I want to be treated romantically or mushy doesn't mean my partner will like being treated like that. It depends. And that's
why. If they know that's how you like to be treated, can they treat you that way? Even though they may not like for you to treat them that way, too mushy, can they give that to you? See, a lot of times a person may not be able to do that because they've never been treated that way. So they wouldn't know how to respond and give it to you. Like I said, some people have never really been loved. So if you're telling a person I love you and you showing them love and they've never been loved, they don't know how to give that back to you. Because nobody's ever really loved them. So for you to do it actually scares them. It actually scares them and makes them back off and go into a shell because you're giving them something they never had, and it's scary to them because they're afraid that if they get opened up and give into it, that
or makes them run away for 3 months and come back acting like they just went to the store, huh?
Exactly. See, I wasn't trying to go there, but exactly.
Willie's moment. But at this time, we're going to move to the next segment. We're going to move to the next
exactly
segment.
who I'm talking about.
We've been talking about treat them right for a while. Now we're going to go on to this. Is there or should there be a time limit before you can date someone your friend dated? The code. The code. I don't date nobody my friend used to talk to. I don't care. We 50, and that was when we was 17, whatever, and they used to talk to him. I don't do that. Liars, liars, liars.
There's only a code when they don't want you doing it to them.
Mm.
That's when there's a code. There's only a code when they don't want you doing it to them. If it's
Now-
somebody they want, they gonna go after it, and they could care less how you feel about it.
I feel like if you're talking about a relationship, we in our 50s now, and you was in a relationship with this person when we were kids, you've been a bit ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the scenario David just gave. You're being a bit ridiculous.
But you have some people like that too, though.
You're my very best friend, and the guy you were in love with, even if you broke up with him, the guy you were in love with 10 years ago is available and looking like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Whoa. Story time.
Right, put it up.
Hold up.
I'm
so
telling you,
everybody can
David,
know.
you need to get a drum roll.
Yeah, I know. I got to get my technology together.
Well, I have one. I have a friend who couldn't even wait for me to break up with the person. They were actually trying to go after the person while I was with them.
That ain't your friend.
Exactly. And this person, like I said, I thought was like my best friend, like a brother.
Mm-hmm.
But to see that, that's why I said there is no code. It's only a code when they don't want you going after what they have.
And see, that's why I use my best friend as an example, because to me, she's like, the sister I never had. It's just off limits.
That's how this
with
guy
all the
was.
men out there, why would I entertain the idea of bringing any discomfort between us and our friendship? It's not worth it.
Because, well, this guy, like I said, was just the same as what you're saying, best friend. But his lust for what I had was more important to him than our friendship. And me and this guy were friends for 15, 20 years. Go everywhere, do everything, talk constantly.
Now,
we did
see,
everything
stuff
together.
like that would make me wonder: has he been jealous of you the whole freaking
and
time?
that's what people had told me, but I always blew it off because that's my boy, that's my boy, that's my boy. But when it came right down to it, I discovered that they were right. I would have something, for example, a computer I bought, a brand new computer, real nice computer, and I took it to him to have him because he good with computers, and asked him to set up for me, and he actually tried to break it, tried to mess it up.
God,
I mean, those are the kind of things, I mean, it was I bought a Jag. He got upset and went and bought, so it's like tit for tat kind of thing. But when I was dating this girl, while I was dating her, he was going after her, inboxing her, trying to get with her, all kind of stuff. And it bugged me out. And the person told me that, we had stopped talking for a minute, and the person told me, it's like, yo, your best friend called inboxing me and on my Facebook page and trying to get with me, and he's supposed to be your boy.
Yeah. And that's what I was describing the other show when I was saying something about that, about a guy that was inboxing me. Because him and the guy that I used to date, they were close. They've been friends since high school. They've been good buddies since then. And so to me, that speaks to his character anyway. I wouldn't want to talk to him.
Exactly. And that's what I said. There's only a code when it's convenient for them to be a code.
Mm-hmm.
I would never go after anybody he dated or was with, but he thought nothing of it to go after people that I had dated, people who I was with, people I was even interested in. If he found out I was interested in somebody, next thing you know, he was
Trying to beat you to the punch.
Yeah, trying to beat me to it. And I was
So that's why when you look at Ann Marita's comment, she said that is why you don't discuss what goes in your relationship with your friends. And I learned.
I don't think you always have to.
Yeah,
well, I don't discuss what's in my relationship, but if you dating somebody, you ain't expecting your best friend to be inboxing and trying to get with them, you know.
Oh,
even if you're not even telling them nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Dirty dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't always have to be discussing anything with them.
Right. You don't have to be. They just see you and they have a less. They want what you have. They want what you have, and they, you know.
It's like you said. They went out and bought a Jag because you bought a Jag.
I can tell you,
they bought a nice car, and you know, and
wait. Dave got a story. You got a story.
I can tell you, and this is a long time
ago,
Dave. But you know, certain situations you share with your boys or whatever the case is, and this was a young lady, like, you know, we was about to connect, and I messed around, told my boy my movement that day, like, I'm going here to do this, and that's when I was in college, and sure enough, and I was like, I was trying to end it with this one young lady, trying to end it like, yo, I'm done with this, I'm done with it. And I was like, so I'm about to hang out with this one lady. And I was like, and I'm just trying to make things right with her. And I told him, like, oh, okay, all right. And I said, so don't have y'all asses up on that campus, because they didn't go there. The only reason they came up there because they would come to hang out with me. And I'm like, because I don't want no heat. I just want to spend time with this young lady when we come back to campus, and maybe things to go down, or whatever the case is. So he do that. He act like he was my biggest cheerleader. Sure enough, him and the crew was up there drawing all types of attention when I got back there. And I'm like, this shit was done intentionally. I told him, but I messed up by even telling him what I had going on. But we all hung real tight. So it wasn't like, it's not like we would disappear and one or the other out of our crew would know, like, oh, I ain't talked to him. I ain't talked to this. One of us talked to each other during that time. So I shared it with him. And sure enough, he did totally the opposite of everything that I said. So I learned a long time ago, like, man, you just can't certain things, that may be good for you and you may have a good feeling about. You just can't share it with somebody, even though you may want to, but can't do it.
I dated a girl, another girl, but this one,
Willie's
this guy,
moment.
me and this guy, we were friends. But we had this competitive friendship, you know. But it was mostly sports, you know, track and football. I was better than him; he was better than me, you know, back and forth with that. But I was dating this young lady. And one day he called me. He was like, yo, I see you on Facebook with this young lady, you know, is her name? You know, I said, yeah, that's her name. He said, I used to date her cousin. Oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that's her. So he said, yeah, I know her, you know, whatever. Next thing I know, but I find out later, he started inboxing her, calling her, but he broke the ice with I know your cousin. He didn't say he dated her, but I know your cousin, this, that, and the other. I talking to him, you know, because he's calling me all of a sudden. So he started calling me and everything. And I'm like, man, I haven't talked to this dude because he lived in another city. And so I was saying to her, he was like, well, I might come up, you know, one weekend, we can hang out, whatever. I said, yeah, okay. So I said, well, next weekend I'm going out of town. I got to go out of town, but I'll be back the following week. I come back from out of town early, find out he's in town at the girl's house. So they both was dirty.
Yeah.
Because she and him end up hooking up because they both thought I was out of town. And then when I came back in town, everybody was telling me that this guy was in town because he knew I was out of town. Because everybody knew what was going on, but me, what was going on. So that's why I say to people, I said, it's only a rule when somebody don't want you doing it to them. Because most people could care less. A lot of people can care less what who you dated or what you dated or how long it's been since y'all dated or if y'all dating right now. If it's something they want or somebody they want, they could care less. Because if they don't value your friendship or the relationship that y'all have, it means nothing to them to lose that. And both of these guys who I'm talking about, we've been friends 15, 20 years. And neither one of them cared nothing about had any value in what our friendship was, all the things we've done and, the friendship that we had. And to this day, I don't speak to either one of them. But
all right, man. Oh, good evening, official urban therapist. Let me ask this question. Is it disrespectful or taboo to date someone your friend dated? So again, going back to that, and I know we use a lot the time frame and all that stuff, but overall, do you see yourself doing it, and why would you do it? What would make you do it?
I don't think I've ever dated anybody any of my friends dated.
I can't think of a time when I did. I've always kept my circle small anyway, but for the most part, me and my friends had different tastes in men. So it just never became an issue.
Can you accidentally have sex with them and not have a relationship with them?
Huh?
No. No.
How do you accidentally have sex? Please explain.
I went over to ask her something to find out something.
And you accidentally had sex?
It was an accident.
You all accidentally fell out of your clothes?
We didn't mean to. It was an accident. We didn't mean to. Huh? I went to find out something. He asked me to go over and find out something from her. And when I went over, it was an accident.
Playing games, Willie.
That sounded really bad. That sounded so bad.
We didn't date though.
Okay. We didn't date. We just accidentally had a little sex. Okay.
Yeah.
You just fell into it, right?
That.
Right.
I don't know that.
Everything fell into place, right?
Like literally.
I gotta stop telling y'all my story.
So, Willie, I know it was another part that was added on, but for the sake of the length of the question, you mentioned something about dating someone and dating like a family member, but you hit it off with another family member.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how does that work? Has that happened to anyone?
Has that ever happened to anyone where you're dating one person, and then you meet one of their relatives and you end up having a better flow with the relative and y'all start dating instead, and you break off with the other person, start dating the relative? That was the question.
The answer is no. I can say that I've dated somebody and met one of their relatives and thought, oh damn, wow, he's fine. But that's as far as I took.
Did you let him? So you just kept that to yourself, right?
I sure did, but I swear every time I was around him, I was like, oh, just don't look him in the eye. Don't look him in the eye. Yeah, he was fine.
See, that was my problem. I looked her in the eye. And
see, that's where you messed up.
I did. I did. Well, actually, she told me. Well, I was dating this young lady, and
Willie's moment.
We went out a couple times, and I was maybe about 5 years older than her. So I took her to some activities, and we went to some events, and she wasn't feeling the events that we went to, And she was more into like the clubs and that kind of stuff. I was more into like jazz and going to like
live music,
right? Live music, Martin Luther King programs, and those kind of things. And so she kept saying to me, "You would probably get along better with my sister. You more like my sister type." And I was like, "Really?" So we were talking. So she kept saying it. So that one evening, I took her out and I went and took her home.
Prophecy.
And I went and took her home and met her sister. And when I met her sister, we ended up hitting off, right? And
so how did the girl?
At first, she was like, okay, it wasn't no big deal. But then once me and her sister was together for a while, and she saw all the things me and her sister did together, and then she got mad, because she was looking at the things I was doing as being, oh, that's boring. That's, that's old.
But her sister was having a good time.
Right. And then when she saw all the things that me and her sister did and all the fun we had and all the different things that was going on, she kind of was hurt because one day she said, well, he was with me first, that kind of thing. And the sister looked at her, but
that might have been. I think that's.
Well, we never did anything. We just kind of went out a couple times. Me and the girl never did anything. It was just we just hanging out. That kind
of almost sounds like a little sibling rivalry. Once you got with the.
Because she kept telling me, she said, you probably would get along better with my sister. My sister likes stuff like this. My sister likes, know. And so when I met her,
that told you right there, she didn't want you.
Right. Exactly. So, but then when she introduced me to the sister, when I dropped her off, and then we ended up hitting it off and really got along really well. But the sister ended up moving away.
It probably wouldn't have bothered her if some man had come along and was doing all the things she liked to do.
Right.
But I mean, doing it on a regular basis, going out, having fun, spending that kind of time with her. Doing the things that she liked to do. So it really wasn't, that incident doesn't even sound like, even with her comment, it still wasn't that she wanted you. She wanted somebody like you who would do what she wanted.
So how was Thanksgiving dinner, Willie, over there?
Huh?
How was Thanksgiving dinner? How was Thanksgiving dinner over there?
Oh, we didn't do that. Did we? No, we didn't do that. Actually, we didn't do that. No, I didn't go over for Thanksgiving. I don't think I did. No, that would have been weird, but I don't think I did. I went over for Christmas.
You think that would have been weird?
I think that would have been weird. I did go over for Christmas though. I do remember because I actually saw a picture. That's what made me think about the story because I saw a picture of us and it was a Christmas in the background. So I did remember going over there for Christmas. But like I said, she was a nice girl. We just got along because she was around my age. And she enjoyed the kind of stuff that I enjoyed. And so eventually she moved away. That's why we stopped talking. She moved away. She was cool. But the sister, like I said, she started to
let her move her away. How you let her get away?
Because I had a lot of things going on back in those days.
Well, you're trying to provoke another Willie's moment. Please stop.
I had a lot going on back in those days, so just left an empty spot, had to fill another spot.
I think Herb was trying to imply that $50 limit chased her away.
No, it wasn't no back then. It wasn't no $50 limit. I still didn't do dinners back then. I just thought about that. That must have been something I've been doing for. I didn't do dinners back then either. So no. But
another comment.
I'll go to concerts and I'll do stuff. I'll take, I do things. I take people out. I just don't do dinners. For some reason, I just don't like doing dinners.
Ever? Just
very rarely. Even like if I'm dating you serious, we've been dating for a long time.
You date somebody seriously, you like, so we gonna go out and do da 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 da. Like, yeah, that's cool. You're like, so are you hungry? Yeah. Okay, cool. Eat before I pick you up.
No, we'll go get something. Very rarely will I'll say I'll take them out to dinner though. I'll go get something and we'll get it and take it, or like sit down like fast food or something. I was doing fast food back there, but now, even now with that, I don't.
So Willie, do you think that approach is working for you?
What's that?
No dinner.
No dinner.
No dinner.
Yeah,
I got all my money. I'm not. Yeah, I have no problem with it.
He said it's not working for them, but it works fine for him.
So I know you be cooking up something. So
I love cooking.
Will you have a woman over for a first date that you cook?
Yeah, I actually brought.
But I forgot women they don't go over men's house on the first dates or anything.
Oh,
no, she might accidentally have sex.
Yeah.
No,
so
not on the
that's
first
another
date.
thing that I think is a lot of lies too. Whatever the stuff that people post on social media. Oh, I don't do that. I don't. We got to be in a public place. Stop.
No.
Stop.
I say that, and I mean that.
To my house though. I wouldn't want to,
That's
I wouldn't want to do a first
issue.
date at a house anyway.
That's not even trying to be prudish. That's a safety issue.
Yeah.
In my
well, in this day and age, I can see that.
Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, if I'm gonna do a date, I'm gonna take you out somewhere. We're gonna go somewhere, and even like I said, if we go to a concert or something like that, I'll buy food. We'll eat at the concert, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually pick somebody out and say, "Hey, let's go out to dinner," I don't do dinners. I don't just say, "Hey, I'm gonna come get you. Let's go out." But if we're out somewhere and I say, "Hey, you hungry?" and they're hungry, and I say, "All right, let's go get something to eat," something like that, I'll do that. But I don't do really like contact anybody and say, "Let's go out to dinner."
Sound like to me, Willie. It sounds like to me when you talk about that concert thing, you be pulling out sandwiches out the trunk. Like, I got you hungry. You're hungry. I got sandwiches in the cooler.
I think that is so tacky. I've seen people do stuff like that. Go to movies, be pulling food out their bag and all that crap. No, I grew up like that. My mother used to get us in the car and we go to the drive-in, and she pulled that paper bag out with the popcorn and all the hot dogs wrapped up in aluminum foil. And I used to be so embarrassed, man. She used to drive me crazy with that. So no.
Who was looking in the car?
I was looking. I used to be so embarrassed. So no, I don't do that. I don't. But I will. Like I said, if I'm out and we're doing something, I say, "Hey, you hungry? I'm hungry." And we'll stop and get something to eat. But to say, "Hey, Christine, what you doing? Let's go out to dinner." I'm not gonna do that. I've never done that. Not to just say going out to dinner. I'll cook. I may even say, "Hey, you want to come over? I'm gonna cook dinner. You want to come over? What do you like to eat?" And then I say, "I want to make you dinner," or something like that. I'll do that. I'll do that way before I even consider taking somebody out to dinner. I don't know why, but I like to cook and that kind of thing. And I think too, because if it's at my house, it's not just we're sitting down at a restaurant having dinner. We actually can have a conversation. We can talk. We can cook together. Help out or whatever. It's more to it than just sitting down in the restaurant, spending some money. And you really can't have a conversation when you're in a restaurant eating dinner. Your conversation is limited because you're not going to talk with your mouth full. So I prefer, I'll invite somebody to my house in a heartbeat. I have no problem with that. Come on over. I'll cook dinner. Crab legs, lobster, steak. Try out my new air fryer. Yeah, in a heartbeat. I do it up. I cook. I will cook, and it'll be a nice dinner.
So, and Marita made this comment. She said the sister was probably upset because she didn't have anyone to entertain her. Willie, that's why you need to leave those young ladies alone.
I like young ladies. Please, you kidding me? Oh, shit, I ain't leaving no young ladies. My problem is, that's my problem, though, because I meet these young ladies and they like me. Like a couple weeks ago, I went out and I met this young lady, and she was really into me.
She was like, "Bye."
No, she gave. I actually met her at a dinner, so I didn't have to even take her to dinner. That worked out. See, look at that. But she was really into me. We were talking. She was like, "Here, take my number." Gave me her number. We were talking, and then some kind of way, my daughter, she talked about kids, and she asked, and I said, "Oh, she asked, did I have any kids?" I said, "You have a daughter," and she said, "Really?" And so we just kept talking. So she said something about she would be 39. We talked about this last week, I think, too. I said she would be 39.
Posted it online.
Right. And I said, and I started laughing. And then she was like, "Well, how old is your daughter?" And I said, 40. And she's like, "I thought you were 40. And I was like, "No, I'm not 40. So then she was like, "Well, how old are you?" And when I told her I was 59, it
messed with her head.
It did. Because, like I said, she gave me her number. She wanted me to call her. And she even made this comment, but I'm not going to bring up that comment tonight. But
you've been holding back on that comment because I think you said that
she
last
asked
week.
Me, did I want to give her a baby? I said, "Well, we can practice."
Yeah, he actually shared that comment last week.
I said, "I don't know if I would give you a baby." Well, we can practice. We can practice on it.
Well, half on the baby.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go no half. I'm going all in. I ain't going all. But I called her the next day. She didn't answer the phone. I texted her, and she didn't respond. So I texted her twice, and I just left her alone.
See, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. She was all interested until you
so I
said
told her
your age.
I mean, but if that was a deal breaker for her,
like I said,
my oldest daughter is that way. She, if a man can't talk to her that's close to her dad's age. She just can't. That's a no for her.
Right. But see, she didn't realize, she didn't realize that I was 59.
I'm trying to tell you, because I know how my daughter is. If everything was progressing nicely, and the age came up and turned out he was close to her father's age, that would have been a wrap. Right then and there, she probably would have got up.
Like I said, I understood when the way she responded. I knew she had an issue with it. I was like, okay, cool. But she was like, all right, I got to go, call me, So I was like, okay, cool. I'll give you a call, But I kind of felt, probably on her way home, she thought about it. And, so by the time she got home, she probably like, I can't do this. But the whole night we sat and talked, she danced, wanted to dance with me. We danced and had a real nice time. So I had a good time.
Do she have your number?
Yeah, because what happened was when she gave me her number,
she'll resurface.
I ain't worried about it. But when she gave me her number, I called her because she gave me her number. She said, "Here, take my number." And when she gave me her number, I put it in.
She changed the name on your number to "Old Man Don't Answer."
Good looking old man don't answer.
She resurfaced.
Might have.
She didn't want to date her daddy's friends. Hey, that's possible. That's possible. But I do run into that a lot. I do meet people, and most of the, and it's funny, most of the women I meet are like 39 to 44, 45. And so that's just who I end up meeting. And so I'll meet them and we talk and we have a good time. And then eventually they'll ask me how old I am because I don't say anything. I just talk. I'm having a good time, having a good conversation. And then eventually they'll ask me how old I am. And they always say, I thought you were like 40.
Well, so, Willie, you're telling me you won't deal with a banging 61-year-old woman that fine as hell and look good?
I did when I was like, I did when I was like 30.
Huh?
I did when I was like 20. I did when I was like 30, 31.
But now you wouldn't do it.
Because she was fine too. She used to be a model. But yeah, she was like 50 something. I was like 30.
It was about the conquest when you were younger. So now as an older man,
I had that cougar. I had a cougar before I knew what a cougar was. And then that was over because her kids, her little grandkids came and jumped in the bed with us afterwards. Oh shit! Hell no.
Speaking of that,
Now that was creep factor.
we're going to move on to the next segment. Do you consider men or women with a lot of kids a red flags? So when this was presented to me, it was saying it seems like it's more of a bigger issue when men have a lot of kids compared to women having a lot of kids. So when men have a lot of kids, a lot of baby mothers, compared to women, the same thing. Seems like it's more of a bigger issue for men. What's your take on that whole thing?
I think it is a bigger issue for women. Well, for men having a lot of kids, I have an issue with that.
With men,
That a man with 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 9, 10 kids, you know, and not married, not that bothers me because you're doing a lot of stuff that don't make no sense.
Yeah, I think, and this is I think the same way, you know, based on the conversation through the week. It's the same way men look at it. You know, they're like, if a woman has a lot of kids with a lot of baby daddies, then that's a big no for them. It's a bigger no for them than a woman with just a lot of kids and maybe there's one father or two fathers. And I think as a woman looking at a man with a lot of kids, if there's a lot of different baby moms, then I'm looking at you like, I guess I'm kind of questioning your character. Like,
Exactly.
You know, have you been kind of a love them and leave them with a child? And, you know, it would make me question it. You would have to
No
do
sense
some
of commitment.
Yeah. I'm
No
thinking
sense of commitment.
that, and then I'm wondering, I'm really looking at you now. I'm not big on what do you do for a living and how much money do you make or whatever, but you got a whole lot of kids out there. Are you taking care of them? And I don't just mean paying minimal child support. Are you taking care of your kids? Are you raising them? Are you involved with them? Because if there's a lot of baby mamas, then how are you spreading yourself around so that all of these kids actually know you? You know, so for me, having a lot of kids, I mean, I got a lot of kids, not an issue anymore. I already told you when I had 3 kids and was divorced, I didn't date men with kids because I wanted more kids. And most men with kids didn't want more kids.
You want more kids, right?
But so now that's not an issue for me. I'm done. I'm done. My kids are grown. It is kind of an issue for me. I need your kids to be grown.
Right.
So at this point, now if you still have young kids and you're in your 50s, that's a turn off to me.
50?
I mean, it happens. It happens.
So what would you consider young kids if you're in your 50s? Like kids that's teenage or like 3-4 years old or 5, 6
under 16, definitely. That's, you know, once they get to be 16, they usually calling you about money anyway. So they're not, it's not like they need to be babysat. It's not like, you know, so that I guess the number doesn't really bother me as much as uh,
The age.
the age at this point
Mhm.
in life.
But see, I even have that problem with like women that are 40s, like 40s, because if you
Mhm.
got 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, you know what I mean? 3, 4, 5-year-old running around the house, that ain't gonna work for me. 7, 8, 9,
Right.
10, like you said, that
Yeah,
age under that
right.
16.
Because even if you've got
That,
a 10-year-old, then you've got nothing. No offense, but you've got to take them to you know
mm-hmm.
whatever sports practice. You got to go to their programs. Tonight is parent teacher conference night. More power to you doing what you're supposed to do. I had to do it, but
Right,
at my age, I don't want to do all that.
right. Especially if they have, like you said, if they have a multiple number of kids,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the other thing. I I think, like I said, I look at it more sort of like what Christine said. If you have a man with 4, 5, 6 kids, you know, what are you doing with them? What are you doing? That's really irresponsible for you to have 4, 5, 6 kids with different women. And, are you taking care of them? You're not just, like you said, not just dropping off the child support check, but are
Mm-hmm.
you actually spending time with them? Do the kids know each other? You know, because a lot of times you have all those kids and they don't even know who you are because you don't bring the mothers won't let you bring the other kids around the other kids and all that kind of stuff. And I talked about one time in one of my programs, one of my kids talked about his father had 9 kids. And the first thing I thought about, I was like, well, do y'all know each other? And the kid was like, well, I know most of them, but then we know at least he has at least 9 kids. And to myself, I started thinking about, this is Niagara Falls. There's only one high school, and you don't know who all your brothers and sisters are. That's a scary thought.
It really is. It really
That's a
is.
scary thought. There's
And
only one high school.
I saw a 60 Minutes episode like that where these kids were split up. They had the same mother and father. I think the father died, and then the child services took the rest of the kids from the mother, and they all got split up. And but 2 of them, they were really young. 2 of them ended up in high school together and actually dated. So they actually had relations. Anyway, fast forward, they were in their 40s, some of them, because it was a lot of them. But the sister that decided to go on the hunt and find all her siblings, one of the brothers she found, because she didn't even know who they were. She just knew they were out there. So she started searching for them. And one of them was somebody she dated in high school that she had relations with.
Wow.
But they were like 40 and 50. I mean, they got past it.
Right.
But just imagine, though, still, what could have happened? What if they had hit it off? What if they got married? What if they had kids?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
There's
watching
a
video. Yeah, it was these kids posted this video, and it was the guy, he was dating a girl, and they had the same father. And he was dating the girl. I guess he found out while they were dating, but because she would always invite him over to her house because she was living with her grandmother, and he would never go over to the grandmother's house. Because what happened was, they found out later, the grandmother knew who he was. If she would have saw him, she would have knew who he was. So he would never go to the grandmother's house. He would always go pick her up, that kind of thing. And
So
one day
he knew, and he didn't want her to find out.
Right. And that's what happened was, he was videoing this for YouTube or whatever. He was, how they video stuff, and he had the video camera going, and he was telling her why he would never go into the grandmother's house, because she kept trying to get him to go. And she finally said, I really need you to come meet my grandma. I keep talking about you, and she wants to meet you. So he pulled up to the house, and she got in the car, and he was saying, this is why I never wanted to meet your grandmother. And then he said, your father is, and she was like, yes. She said, well, that's my father also. He said, and that's why I've never came. And so she was like, what? And you've been having me, and I guess she had been doing all kind of things to him, and he'd been doing all kind of things to her. But what was really crazy about the video is that she was like, I can't believe this. I'm so sick. You know, she was like really traumatized by it. And he was like, well, I told you because I was hoping we could still stay together.
Oh.
Yeah. And she looked at him.
Oh,
Was like,
I'm getting chill bumps. Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? But that's, you know, and that's why I said when I heard this boy talk about 9 brothers and sisters in Niagara Falls, that's the kind of thought that came to my head, was that kind of story. I said, you know, and it's crazy because again, if you got 5 or 6 kids, but you're not taking them around and meeting each other and they don't know who each other are, you can have those situations. I know people got kids and they're 3 months apart because they got different mothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So they could end up in the same school together or meet out in a club somewhere. But fortunately, they knew each other. They, you know, they were introduced to each other. They knew, you know, they were related. But just crazy that, you know, those kind of things. But the more kids, you know, especially for a man, I just look at it differently. A woman, I still, you know, have some issues with, you know, having multiple kids with different guys. But like you were married, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. If you were married and you had 3 or 4 kids and your husband died, and then, or y'all break up and then you get remarried or you start dating somebody else and have a kid, that kind of thing. But to just dropping babies and all that kind of stuff, that kind of bothers me with a woman.
So, and one of the questions was, under what circumstances would you move forward with the person with a lot of kids? Like, what would make you say, for example, a woman with
I feel like Willie got a story.
You know it's coming.
Willie's moment. Should I click on it? Hold on. Let me click on Willie. Another Willie's moment. Gotta keep these moments going.
Well, I had this thing for years. I had this, I don't know, it's a fad or whatever you want to call it, but I had this thing for 5'2" and under. If you were 5'2" and under, I was in love. I didn't care. So, and the shorter, the better. So, under 5, 4'11",
she can have 15 kids.
Oh man, exactly.
Under what? Under and what?
So,
under 5.
If you 4'11", you got my heart.
Height.
So there was like fucking dwarfs.
Right.
Midgets and shit. Whatever.
Like, how tall are you?
Beautiful. I dated a girl. I dated a girl that lived in Indianapolis. I walked into a restaurant. She was walking out. I looked at her. I said, "Excuse me, how tall are you?" She said, 4'11" and 3/4. I said, 4'11" and 3/4 is my favorite height. She lived in Indianapolis. I would drive to Indianapolis every weekend for 2 years.
So
and we still friends to this day.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet. I'm not short at all.
That's what I was wondering. Like, why is it so short?
Most of the women I dated from high school all the way up to after college were 5'2" and under. Most of the women I dated were 5'2" and under. And I went on, but my story was I went on a trip to Jamaica with a group trip to Jamaica, and met this young lady. Of course, she was 5 feet or 4'11", somewhere around there. Well, of course, as soon as I met her, I saw her and I just overwhelmed. And so we talked and hit it off and had a great time. And one day we're sitting out on the beach and we're talking everything. And she said, well, it was almost time for us to go back to the States. And so she said, well, I got to go back because my kids probably missing me. I said, your kids? Now, mind you, like I said, she was 5'2", petite, little thing, beautiful. Had my heart. I said, how many kids you got? You know, I'm thinking, how many kids you got? She had 5 kids. 5 kids. And I started laughing because we was always laughing and joking. So I started laughing, but I was the only one laughing. And I said, you joking, right? And she said, no, I have 5 kids. And went back to the States. And I actually went and met her kids. And we dated for about a little over a year. It was tough for me. I kind of got used to the kids. Cause I like kids anyways. I kind of got used to the kids, but it was just some other things that occurred that we ended up breaking up. But I never thought I would date somebody with 5 kids. But we got along really well. If it wasn't for that other situation, we probably would have dated for a lot longer. But it was just because the kids didn't bother me. And they were young kids too. Well, she did have one older kid. He was like 18. He had moved away, 18 or 20, somewhere around there. But all the other kids were like 13, 11, 8, and 2 8-year-olds. They were twins. And I mean, they were kids. They were babies, little kids. And then she lived in a house with a sister who lived upstairs that had like 4 or 5 kids. So it was just a house full of kids. And I never thought I would date somebody with a bunch of kids or be around a bunch of kids. But because I liked her and we hit it off so well, I dated her, but we broke up for another reason. But I would have probably dated her for a long time if it wouldn't have been that situation. I can't. I always used to say, you know, I would never do that, or I would never, you know, I always tell people, I say never, because you find yourself in a situation where, you know, something you said you would never do. I always said I would never date somebody with dreads. And then I started going to Toronto and I ended up dating somebody with dreads. And she was the sweetest, and we're still friends to this day. She's the sweetest girl in the world.
I think you almost set yourself up once you throw that word never out there.
Never. Yeah. And I stopped saying never because I said I would never. Because I would see, you know, I see people with dread like, oh, I would never date nobody with a dread. You know, that looks so gross. And I met this girl, and they were more like the twist. They weren't really dreads. They were like those twists, you know, that kind of thing. And when I met her, she was just the cutest. Again, 5 feet, 4'11", right around that height. But
nothing
she was
wrong
just
with the twist, Willie.
thing.
Ain't nothing wrong with the twist.
and we're still friends to this day, and we've been friends over 20 years. You know, and those are the kind of people I normally stay friends with. Are those people, like I said, 5'2" and under that I've dated? We're still friends.
I hear you, Herb.
What Herb talking about?
He said he wouldn't date a woman with underage children living at home. Never.
Well, they all lived at home except for the one son. He lived and he moved away because he went away to school, and he lived where he was living. But the other 4 were right there in the house, and they were all little kids. And then her sister had a bunch of little kids, and they was all up and down the stairs, up and all through the house. And but it didn't bother, and I thought it would drive me crazy with all them kids, but it didn't bother me because I enjoyed her. So I enjoyed her, so I enjoyed her kids. I treated her kids the way I treated her. You know, I'm not going to be with her and ignore the kids. So when we did stuff together with the kids. A lot of times we did stuff without, because a lot of times she was like, I need to get away from these kids. Let's go. You know, so we would go. But, you know, so it worked out because, you know, that was her mindset sometimes. She was like, I need to get away from these kids. Let's go. Come get me.
You were her escape.
Right. And so like I said, we got along very well.
So that remind me when this subject first was introduced, and it's been going on for a little bit about the kids, and I think I had made a post like the guy with 10 kids, 10 different baby mothers, and a lot of, you know, and some women were like, oh, well, it depends on how old the kids are. And one of my former students from down here has said, you know what? They're not checking for that either, because even if they're older, that means it's grandkids in the equation. Like grandkids. So if you think about it, if somebody got 9 or 10 and all the kids, they're adults, they probably got children.
Mm-hmm.
So every given time, it may be a subset of them coming over that you're watching, and you may be like, okay, I'm really feeling this one, man. And it's the weekend, peace and quiet, but all these little grand critters, any given time, there's 7 or 8 of them running around, and you just wanna unwind, relax, and shit, you can't even keep up with their days, because if it's 9 or 10 of them, let's just say on the average, if each of them had 2, that's like 20. So I doubt if all 20 would be over there at one time, but it could be at any given time that it could be 8 or 9 over there. And
imagine a family gathering.
Yeah, exactly. So she was saying pretty much, no, thank you. I don't want to even deal with the grandkids like that. And I was like, okay, that's a good perspective, whatever. Yeah. Because when it get to the holiday season, and you women are so joyous. Oh, you got to make sure everybody had this and that. Then you're dealing with somebody, and all of a sudden he might have 1 or 2 grandkids. Now all of a sudden he inherited 25 more. Shit, I ain't about to put my money into all of it. I'm not about to do this. So it's
I know I couldn't do it.
Think about.
I know I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Like I said, the girl had 4 kids, but it just was. It was. I never thought I would date somebody with 4 kids, but and the kids were pretty. Like I said, they pretty much. They didn't bother. It was really weird. Yeah, they were pretty self-sufficient. It was really weird. They were really self-sufficient, and they were all taller than her because she's like I said, she was like 4'11". And all the kids were taller than her. It used to be so funny because I had to look around sometimes to see where she was because she'd be in the kitchen cooking with the kids and they all be standing around her. And I'm like, where your mother at? Oh, and then they'll move back and she'll be standing there.
You gotta, Willie, you're pretty much saying right now that on live that you got a fetish for dwarfs.
I do. It's not anymore though. Not anymore.
What changed?
The person I dated before my wife, she was like 5'4", 5'5". My wife was 5'7", and then the stalker, she was like 5. She played basketball, 5'6", 5'7". So I got into like taller women, but my thing has always been, I've always been attracted to 5'2" and under. And I could look at a woman, I could be standing a block away and I can see a woman and walk up to her and say, I can tell her height. If she's 5'2" and under, I can tell her exactly what her height is. I'm normally off by maybe 1/4 of an inch. But it's just something about 5'2" and under and if they 4'11", I am in love.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting.
I guess this is tickling me because you're used to hearing women, I want a man at least 6 feet. This is the first time I've really heard this like that. Like I had a thing for
4'11",
little bitty women.
4'11 3/4. Lord Jesus, I am in love.
So they must be stacked like a floor model TV or something.
No, they weren't. They were, like I said, they were not really petite, little, but they had nice shape. They were nice, small. There's just something about them. It was, and all of them had mouths on them. That was the other thing. All of them had mouths on them. Stop. They all had mouths on them. They always was talking stuff. And it was so cute because, like you said, like a little person, and they talking all this crap, and I just would laugh and just sit and laugh at them because I'm like, you just don't know. This would be so fun, but those are the people I dated for years, and I mean, like I said, all those people, the ones that I dated that I was really serious in a relationship with, to this day, we're still friends. 20, 30 years later, one friend of mine, I still talk to her, on Facebook, and she has kids, and in contact, and I dated her since she was in high school, and she was like 4'11", and we're still friends to this day. Dated a couple times, when she got married and got divorced, and we dated back and forth all from high school all the way up to adulthood.
You just never know what you get in the council score.
That's why I say never say never. Never say never. I've learned that lesson. That and dreadlocks, and I will never date a skinny girl, and all these things I would say I would never do. My wife was a size 1. I always said I ain't never date nobody skinny. And she was a size 1, but she's 5'6", 5'6". She played basketball. And she's like 5, she's a size 1. And I was like, when I first met her, I was like, she is so little. She's too tiny for me. But we sat down, started talking, and next thing you know, I was getting married. So,
Kind of like accidentally having sex, huh?
but what's crazy about that? She actually I was introduced to her by somebody who liked me. And they introduced me to her because she liked me, but I wasn't liking her. So she introduced me to her thinking that knowing that I would like her, but didn't think that she would like me. And so when we end up getting married, she still doesn't speak to either one of us to this day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, really in your moments, man, you got a lot going on.
Hey, 59 years, you got a lot of stories.
Yeah. And the good thing is that you're able to connect these stories to the subject matter where all of us have a story to tell. It's if you're able to interpret it and express it and put it out there as a teachable moment, and most people are not able to do that. So I commend you on that. We love the Willie man.
As well as being transparent. As well as being transparent.
And it's funny because sometimes I'm listening to the stories I'm telling, and I'm like, why am I telling these people this stuff? This stuff going all around the world here. But you know what? It's the stories I tell, I think about, there's nothing harmful in the stories I talk about. It's never like I've done, and I've never been in an abusive relationship. One of the things I've always told people I've dated, and I said, if I ever feel like I got to put my hands on you in order for you to listen to me, I can't be with you. Because I grew up like that. My father used to be very abusive to my mother. And I remember at the age of 5, him being abusive to my mother, and I knew he had a shotgun in the closet. And at 5 years old, I went and got the shotgun and shot a hole in the wall. That's how big the gun was. I was trying to get him off my mother. So I always said, if I got to put my hands on you in any kind of way, I don't play. You have people that play hit and all that. I don't play hit because I said you play hit and then you hit somebody too hard or whatever.
Now somebody mad. Now you got an issue.
So we can't play hit. We can't do none of that. And I'll grab you and hold you and that kind of stuff and grab you and make you mad. Won't let you go. But I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to slap you. I'm not going to punch you. None of that. None of that. Because I saw it happen.
Yeah, and I never did either. I didn't see violence between my parents.
Yeah. That's not fun to me. That's not, don't play hit me.
And my ex actually said, there was one time my parents had come to, I think they were dropping my kids off or something, and got stuck in the snow in front of our house. And so my dad and my guy was pushing, it was a van. They were pushing it out of the rut, right? And my mother was behind the wheel. And when they got it out and drove off, he turned to me, he said, your father talks to your mother like she's a fragile piece of glass. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like,
what was he saying that was
just like, okay, sweetheart, turn turn the wheel this way. Okay,
Oh,
wait.
okay.
That's enough. It just, but that's it.
Love
How
it.
he talked to my mother, it just, he was like, wow, because his parents are very loving, but they're, number one, they're loud people. If you don't know them like that, you might think they're arguing, but they just talk.
They yell in conversation. They yell in
conversation and they cuss a lot.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I think that's one of the things, whatever, that you again, I think it ties in with teaching people how to treat you, and certain things just happen with communication, like that you would get adapted to talking to someone some way, and it becomes, this is the way it is. Like, baby, turn it this way or do it this way, and that's the chemistry you have between each other. But but once somebody, sometimes people don't have, because they're not used to ever hearing that, and then they hear nigger this, such and such, bitch ass, this and that, and then they think they can bring that conversation into a relationship. And this is where the verbal abuse, the physical stuff resort to. So sometimes you have to, as you get older, you have to weed out conversations of people that you deal with. It's okay. You can't hold on to people forever in your life. Even though, we've been friends since kindergarten, but every conversation you have with them is negative, and everything they say, sooner or later, you want better for yourself. You want better for your children, your grandkids, because you can't keep holding on to that, even though you love them. But you have to love people from afar. Like us.
You make excuses for them. You make excuses. That's the way. Well, that's how. That's how Willie is.
Yeah. No, I'm no.
That's the excuse you make for him. No, that excuse wears out.
That's not okay. Quick. That's an issue I've had in a couple of relationships where, well, how I am. I because they might explode over something small, but then once they've exploded, they're fine, and I'm supposed to be fine. And again, like I said, I haven't argued with a man since not being with my kids' fathers, and I'm like, okay, I don't do that. I don't take that well. I don't like that.
I don't believe in arguing.
You know how I am. Once I get it out of my system, I'm gonna be back to normal. No, that's not okay with me.
Because they better, but you not. Because now you've been attacked. Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't believe in arguing. I tell people right up, I am not gonna argue with you. We can have a conversation. We can agree to disagree. We're not always gonna agree, but I'm not gonna. Every time we get together, it's not gonna be an argument. And maybe that's why I'm still single, because I refuse to argue with people. I refuse to try to make people be committed, loyal. You want to do what you want to do.
You chasing that silver bullet, that 411 dwarf. That's what you chasing. Ain't too many.
Hey, I need to go back to that. That was the good old days. I need to go back to that. I keep looking at these. But you know what?
411 is 40 to 45 years old.
Yeah. Your criteria is like
very narrow.
Yeah, it's
very narrow.
Yeah,
but
it's narrow. It's narrow as hell.
But you know what? When I was younger, that 4'11", 5'2" and thing, that was cute. It was really cute. Like I said, they were 20 to 30 years old, 20 to 28, 30 years old. But once they get to that 40, 45, 50, that
weight distribution changes.
It starts to go wide instead of
because they ain't getting no taller.
They ain't getting no taller, but they getting a whole lot wider. And so that's why I think I moved up to like 5'6", because at least it kind of went up that way. The four
got a little room.
Short as the
4'11",
curb,
it's
short as the
expanded,
curb,
man.
wide as the street, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, and that's the scary part, you know. But I just, you know, for me, that was a big thing for me in my high school all the way through college. 5'2" and under. I can't think of a person that, no, actually I did date one person that was over 5'2", but most of the people, when I didn't stay with them that long, but most of the people who I dated for a long periods of time and still good friends with today, they were 5'2" and under. Most of them were 4'11", 5 feet. And that is, I'm sitting here thinking about that, and that is really, that's crazy. That's weird. But it was, I'd fall in love. They would just stand there. I didn't have to say anything. I'd just be in love. Just looking at them. 4'11", 5 feet, 5'2" and under. Man, I'd give you the world. And they all had mouths.
You might have to post that in the counselor's corner, Willie, and say something about 4'11".
I might have to. I think I will. Maybe I might find you somebody. We got any 4'11", 5'2" women out there?
So you post it.
We'll find out, because I'm gonna find out.
But being the man that you are, and this is only gonna cause more controversy for you. You put that out there. 4'11" to 5'2", but you can't be over what weight? You can't be over what dress size? You might as well put that out there too, because it might be some 4'11", 5'2".
Will it hold it back on those type of posts?
Be like a 14, 18.
I don't like big surprises.
Yeah.
I like big surprises. That's right.
Now,
headshots can be deceiving.
She said, as you get older, you want peace in your life. Arguing doesn't bring serenity, and that's true. That's one of the key things. You get older, peace. You want peace.
Mm-hmm.
You want peace.
And so, if you're dating, you know, you're mature, so you're dating mature people. I'm just talking about age. Mm-hmm. So, to me, if they're still in a mindset of arguing all the time, they haven't matured.
No,
because they're not looking for peace. We don't need to talk.
And if they're at that age, they're not changing. No matter what you say, how that bothers, you know, or how that's affecting the relationship. Mm-hmm. At 50 years old, they're not changing. They could care less.
And then I'm doing something for you, and you're clowning. I don't think so.
That's why I need me a 39. That's why I need me a 39 to 45-year-old.
Willie, you want to be roasted. Herb said Kevin Samuels says Big Shirley. Kevin Samuels is not gonna get credit for every goddamn thing. I'm gonna nip that bud. You already know Martin always been talking about Big Shirley. Whatever with Cole with Big Shirley.
But he called any woman that wears over a size 6 big. A 6.
Who does?
Kevin Samuels.
Wow.
He said he's like, you need to get down to a size 6. You need that's his number. You need to get down to a size 6. I'm like, ain't no way in the heck.
There's a lot of men don't even want a woman that small.
No, right. But you have to look at, if you look at a woman that's a size 6, unless she's like
4'11",
right? 5'2" and under, then she might be all right. But if she's got some height to her, 5'2", a size 6 is little. Mm-hmm. It's little. You don't have much going for you. That's crazy. And I've noticed that because I used to post on my page about what's the average woman's size, and most women were like saying, which was really kind of threw me off. They kept saying 160, 170 was the average size, weight for a woman, and it kind of threw me off because I was thinking like 120, 130, and women kept saying 160, 170. And then when I saw the women that said, well, I'm 160, I'm 170, I'm 165, they weren't big. You know what I mean? I was thinking that was big, but they weren't really big women. But for Black women, when Black women's structures are so different from what they make these charts for. You know, they don't make those charts for us. So
No,
when
don't.
I saw,
and they've come out and said as much.
Yeah, when I see 160, 170, and the woman that said it, I'm like, you 170? You know what I mean? I'm thinking 170 was gonna be big, 175 was gonna be big. But when I saw her, I'm like, you 170? You don't, and I said to myself, you don't look that big.
Mm-hmm.
But 170 really isn't big for an African American woman, any woman with color, even Hispanic women.
Mm-hmm.
They're built the same way as Black women. The only people that you see 140 and 130 and stuff like that are not, women of color, or they're modeling, or they're something. You know what I mean? They're doing something like that. That's not a natural. That's not a natural characteristic of most women. So I had to move away from that because I was thinking, like Kevin Samuel was saying, size 6. But when in reality, most Black women are like what, 12? They said 12 to 14.
But most women are. You look at the average. If you look at the average size of adult women, they've posted it on. I don't know. I've seen it posted many times before, and that's all women. Like the average size is 12 to 14.
12. That's what I thought.
The difference is in the way we're built. So this size 12 on a woman of color may look a lot different than a size
totally
12.
different.
Yeah,
totally different. Yeah, because a Black woman, a woman of color, size 12, you be like, damn. You see another person size 12, you're like, oh boy. You know what I mean? You're like, it's a wide load, it's like. So I mean, it really took me to see that, to see a woman say, I'm this, I'm 170, and then to actually see the person be like, you're not that, you know what I mean? And that's what I said. I said, you're not that big, because in my mind, I'm thinking 170 was big. So it really kind of threw me off to fact, and I had to change my mindset and my thinking for, dating women, as to like look at the person and not try to figure out the size. And, like I was saying, I'm not dating nobody over 140, 150. I'll be single for real, for real.
So it brings the question to like, when do you say, man, it don't even matter at this point? Like, we both got bigger, gained weight, or whatever the case is, and we love each other for the comfort that we bring to each other. And if we go to make love, that's just it. That's just it. We do it. Like, at a certain point, you can't be looking for the la-las in the world when your ass looking like Sherman Klump. I mean,
well, that's true. That's true.
And
you can't hold them to a higher standard. You can't hold them to a higher standard than what you have. But that's, well, like you and me both, Dave, I work out, you work out, you're trying to get fit. You know what I mean? And when you get that mindset of like how I am, and like maybe like I can't speak for you, but when I work out and I do the things I do, it's because I want to look in that mirror and be proud of what I see. And
I think it's very important. I think it's very important.
If I'm with a woman, she don't have to be working out and doing all the stuff I do, but I can't have her, like he said, just let go. And because that's not going to be appealing to me. She may not work out and do all the stuff I do, but she still has to maintain, you know what I mean? She have to have something that's going to attract me to her.
I have dated larger guys before, like big.
Like large or big, like okay.
Yeah, like 300 pounds. I have before. They were tall too, but still they were big because one of them, and I came to realize if he wasn't eating, he was talking about the next meal. And I'm being real. Yeah. And it got to be a turnoff. And I was gaining weight too. And it's
Yep.
like, this ain't gonna work.
Because you're always eating.
Yeah,
Always eating.
that's what we did. That's you know.
Yep. And that
So
was, that
so
was my
that
thing.
I didn't realize at that I didn't realize that can be an incompatibility, because like, I mean, and we're still friends. We could talk. I mean, matter of fact, I do talk to him on the phone, because I'll call him, especially when it's political, because he's real into politics and he's real into sports. So I'll call him if it's something that I want to know about politics in particular. I'll call him and we'll, talk about like local elections and stuff like that. But that is an incompatibility. If you're a person that is in any way health conscious with someone who refuses to be healthy at all, it's an incompatibility, and it will eventually affect the relationship.
Especially if they know you work, you know what I mean? Especially if they know that you're health conscious, or that you're working out, or
Mhm.
you're trying to control your weight, or trying to reduce your weight, or whatever, or size, or look better in your clothes.
And
You want
so when
somebody
I got upset about, when I realized I was gaining weight, I got upset about it. And then it was like, I never complained about your weight. Who's telling you this? Why do you? It's like, I don't like it. No, it don't matter what, this is
Exactly.
not about somebody else telling me, oh, you're gaining weight or you're getting big. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good to me. I don't understand how it feels good to you.
You look in that mirror, you don't like what you see. And that's what I said. You look in that mirror and you looking, and it's like, what the hell? What am I doing? What have I eat? And
right.
No. And like I said, they don't have to be out there on the track with me doing miles, and but I still want you to be healthy, so this way we can walk and talk and do things. And when I look at you, and I can say, baby, you really look good in that dress or them pants or whatever you have on, and I'm not gritting my teeth when I'm saying it, because I know I'm lying under my breath, that kind of thing. See, I'm not gonna lie. Then you're gonna be mad, because I'll be like, well, you know what? Maybe we need to go to the gym this week. Maybe I need to tie you behind the car and pull you down the block this week. No.
Well, I think one of the things is, again, also what supersedes that is sometimes is that connection piece, and for sure, no one's gonna say, okay, I have certain standards, and then you ballooned up to, as a woman, to 300 pounds, and you're a guy, you at 350 or whatever. Sooner or later, that's gonna cause some strain in a relationship. Like, you just getting out of control. So you definitely want to manage that, but those is conversations you want to have throughout, and be able to be comfortable and be able to express, I'm not, even as a guy, I'm not comfortable where I'm at right now. It's okay to say that. Just don't have that mentality, and as your age keep creeping on you, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I always bag women and this and that. Sooner or later, dude, you're gonna be irrelevant. That it's gonna catch up with you. So for me, during this pandemic, I gained weight, and I was like, man, this shit get out of control. It's getting out of control. So I've been on the grind, and I've been looking, and now things are opening up. Like, I'm about to put the hurt game on the little kids in middle school. We about to have intramural basketball. Yeah, parents, some kids gonna have bruises on them, because I'm about to bring the hurt game. And then they open it up with adult basketball, 40 and over, on Sundays coming up. I'm about to do all that. So, man, I'm gonna enjoy this process, whatever, and I hope I could keep the weight off. And if we ever get in shutdown mode again, I'm gonna be prepared, because I'm gonna know, like, this shit can creep up on you quick, faster than you
Yeah,
think.
it can. Especially all that isolation that we went through. Because I gained a lot of. Well, I gained a lot of weight. I didn't gain as much as I had gained last time.
I started losing weight when we went into. Yes.
All I did was cook. I was cooking for two.
I wasn't happy on my job. I wasn't happy on my job. I was miserable on my job. So it was being away from it. It was just like a breath of fresh air. So
are you back at the same job now or different job?
Heck no. And I say that, and I don't want to sound like it wasn't a bad job. It was it didn't challenge me. I felt stagnant. I felt bored. And that's just the type of person I am. So I was getting miserable. And it seemed like I was trying to find another job. Just nothing was coming through. Nothing was so. But I mean, as far as most people would have loved it, but I just didn't. It was a very business formal. That was something else. It was a very business formal environment. So it just was stiff. I don't know how else to. It was very, just a very stiff environment to me.
How long were you there?
3 years. 3 years exactly when I got laid off permanently due to COVID.
Wow.
Now, Herb made a comment, pizza. I don't know what the hell that mean. I guess he's thinking about his midnight. Yeah.
Herb not thinking
maybe it arrived.
Herb not thinking about us.
Go ahead, Willie. Make your point.
No, I'm good. I was just thinking out loud. Yeah.
We're gonna get ready to get
on
up
you,
out
boss
of here.
man. On you, boss.
So y'all tell me y'all closing points for the night. There's a lot said, a lot of good conversation. We was missing a couple people. Herb had technical difficulties. Yeah, look here, I'm about to put it out there. If you're listening or not, she had transition from hair difficulties, whatever that means nowadays. I don't know. Whatever.
Transition from hair.
Yeah.
She did have a different hair when I saw her last time.
Maybe going from different hairstyles to this, whatever. I don't know.
Bad hair day? Is it?
Put on the damn baseball cap of Scully or whatever, and let's roll on.
She looked really cute at the banquet, the gala they had. She looked really nice. I was their photographer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They had sold out, and I couldn't get a ticket. And she was asking me, did I know anybody that could take some pictures? She had a camera, but she needs somebody to take. I said, hell yeah, I can take some pictures. So I got to go to the gala. And I got got to take pictures and socialize. Got dinner. Met a lot of folks, and I got to help out my friend Lakia at her gala. So it was really nice.
That's good.
Yeah.
She could have threw on a Scully for the night. That's all.
She could have. She looked
put a
really
little baseball cap on, something. Wear her bonnet.
Yeah. No, she can't come on here with no bonnet because I'd tow her up with a bonnet on. We're not doing bonnets on this show, sister. No bonnets on this show. No bonnets.
I just come with my hair wild. It's just like whatever. So I'm gonna close with a quote. That's normally what Lakia does, but I'm gonna come with a quote this time. And this was just this was how someone in HR had. This is something they have at the end of their emails, and I just liked it, so I'm sharing it. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is courage that it is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. I like that. So
Nice.
I just want to share.
All right.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to close out with something we actually been talking about. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That's something I've always believed. And I think when you do that, you won't accept anything less from somebody when they treat you. And in closing, headshots can be deceiving.
I can't take it. I can't take it. I should say God bless, good night, and leave it at that. You already know people, whatever, how it is, or whatever. And you know what? It seems like I fight from week to week with it. People in the counselor's corner, the social media group, that people like, you just let stuff go on, whatever. You need more rules, whatever. Some you call it the counselor's corner. People might be coming on for therapy. Again, folks, don't come on in the counselor's corner looking for therapy. We don't do that. We have real live adult courageous conversations. And sometimes shit may be hurtful, but I always talk about him, Dr. Papalardo. He says sometimes people have to get hit on their head to make a change. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you come on and you come on posting and you say something, you may get hit on the head. No, I don't sit around referee every comment that's said. I look for us to have conversations. We're going to feel uncomfortable, but I understand growth occurs.
Who is that?
Willie, turn that down.
Me? I had to shut up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's the way that's the way. So these conversations, to me, are always productive. You may not see it right then and there, but I think it gives you something to think about. And people do inbox me and tell me on the like I enjoyed the show. I like your platform, and it's real. We're not sugarcoating anything. Now, if it got to a certain point where people were going back and forth, name calling, then you like, okay, like, all right, now y'all need to stop. But for the most part, if I post a scenario and somebody's grilling the person in the scenario, how does that hurt you? How does that hurt you? And too many people are butthurt in these situations, but they know this stuff is going on. We got to talk about it. We have to talk about it. We can't keep...
Everybody's opinion is not going to match yours.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm at on all this. I appreciate Willie's moments. I appreciate Christine, the dashing Christine Brooks, you being authentic and sharing your stuff. Herb, I hope you get your technology right, brother.
Please,
you better hook up that computer. Lakia, get that hair done. We missed you tonight. And hey, man, let's just keep it rolling. Keep having these conversations. Keep posting in the counselor's corner. If it ain't for people, then dismiss yourself. If you don't like the conversation, you don't have to comment. You can just stroll on.
And if it's that bad, go leave the group.
Yeah. To me, when you comment, you're almost saying, I want to troll this situation. I want something because you're going to get some backlash. So let's just keep having these conversations. Because their whole thing was like, how does this help anything? I'm not saying I got numbers to produce like it helps such and such, but I do know that people inbox and say stuff like it was very helpful. I appreciate that show. So I'm not tabulating numbers and all that stuff. And I think it's productive. It's therapeutic for myself because I learned a lot. It
brings awareness. That's what the show's about. Awareness, conversation.
And we're going to keep doing what we're doing. If you don't like it, hell with you. That's all I got to say. We out on that note. Everybody enjoy the rest of their week. Willie, Christine, think about your hot points for next week. And we're going to keep it moving forward. And we out. Peace, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.